We're on, okay. Welcome to this evening's Muskogee City Council meeting, May 26, 2015. Invocation this evening will be by Councilman Derek Reed, and then join us in the flag salute as well. Thank you.
Shall we pray? Oh, gracious Father, we'd like to thank you for just allowing us to see another day. Realizing it's because of your grace, your mercy, and your love that we're able to be here even at this second. Ask that you would just look upon us tonight as we come together to discuss city business, guide our feet, guide our minds, that we may make decisions that are in your will. These and many other blessings we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Please join us with a flag salute. Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mayor Bob Coburn.
Here.
Deputy Mayor James Gully.
Here.
Dan Hall.
Present.
Marlon Coleman.
Here.
Janie Boydston.
Here.
Wayne Johnson.
Here.
Leanne Langston.
Here.
Ivory Van.
Here.
Derek Reed.
Here.
Okay, as we get started, let me just give a word of appreciation to our staff that has worked diligently over the last several days, including the holiday. They have done a great job of keeping the city kind of debris clear and the streets passable and that kind of thing, and some kind of crazy weather conditions that we're having. So thank you to staff, and please pass that along to the appropriate people that gave of their Memorial Day weekend to help us with that. Approval of the minutes. We'll now consider the minutes from the May 11th meeting and then the special call on May the 19th. Is there addition or correction to those minutes?
Move for approval.
Second.
Get a motion and a second. Any discussion of? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Gully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Leanne Langston.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes, motion carries. Consent agenda, is there anything anyone would like to move to regular agenda? If not, we'll be considering items 1 through 8 on the consent agenda, and I'll entertain a motion.
Move for approval.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Gully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Leanne Langston.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes, motion carries. Regular agenda item number 9.
Discuss the new City of Muskogee website and take any necessary action.
Wayne Johnson.
Yeah, at our Public Works session, we had a preview of the website. And one of the things that I was concerned about is it was a stage of being done and ready to be released, and I really wanted to make some clarifications from that. A statement was made that I may want to delay the release of that website, and that was not my goal or my intention to delay the release of that website. Our current website is antiquated. It does need to be updated. I think the customer reporting piece of it is very, very important, and it get put out as soon as possible. The concern that I had was with the process. If you go back and see what the concern was from the council, is that we have a vision for our community from our website. When anybody pulls up a city's website, it's the only view they have of our community, and it should represent not only the city, meaning the functions of the city, but it should represent the entire community, that being the educational community, that being the industrial community, that being commerce, that meaning all aspects of that. I think the council was very clear in its actions that it asked to make sure and have a collaborative workshop and have all those entities present in the vision of what that is. At the front end of that website, it's very important that we have a presence of those pieces, because if an industry is looking at coming to Muskogee, they're not going to have anything except they're going to Google Muskogee, and it's usually going to go to the city website, and you're going to go, what is in that community? Right now, our website does not show it. It looks like a mess. Our website. I'm really pleased with the new one. Has a lot better interface from what we saw. But let me give one example. Education's a very important component of any community. And it's a big component in our community. But if you just tried to represent it in links, it gets pretty cluttered because we have 2 schools, 2 school districts, we have 3 colleges, we have Indian Capital VOTEC, among all the other educational opportunities that are in our community. So if you just try to represent them in links, it gets very cluttered and clouded. I think what should have happened on education is that through a collaborative effort, we could have went to AIM and said, how do we represent this correctly? Because we've stepped forward as a community, and now we're working through collaboration. And I think it's just something that we wanted to see represented in our website, that we work through collaboration. But really what I'd like to see is the website move forward, and now we're more in a reactionary mode where we look at the website, see what challenges we have, and we react accordingly to them. So.
Okay.
So we moving it forward? Is that what you're suggesting, Counselor?
My recommendation would be that we move the website forward at this time. We don't delay it, because if you look at what our current website is, and I do think the committee done a great job. I think the front interface that we were able to see is giant leaps ahead of what the former site was. It's much more cleaner. It's just it needed to be a collaborative effort, and we had asked to be involved in at least 2 critical stages to see what that framework was going to look like. And now we're more in a reactionary stage, but we want to make it the best it can be with whatever stage it is. But I do believe, from what I observed, it's still a much better site than what our old was. And I think the committee done a great job with what they had to work with. I think they've done a wonderful job, and that's what I didn't want to take away from the committee or those that worked away on the website. But I think we worked in a closed bottle, and we didn't work in a collaborative effort. And I would really hope and actually demand that in the future, the city works in a collaborative effort in our community on a critical element that represents our entire community.
Second.
I have a question.
We have someone from the audience that would like to speak to this item as well. Do you want to hear that now, or wait till we've had further discussion?
That's fine.
Okay.
As long as
I'd
we
like to
have
hear
a
it.
chance
We'll
to
we'll come
discuss
back and
more.
discuss it in just a minute. Teresa Rutlinger wanted to speak to this item, item number 9, and you will have 5 minutes. Give us your name and address, as you well know the system.
Okay. Teresa Rutlinger, 2500 Shelby Court. Good evening, everyone. I was at the Public Works Committee, and I wish to goodness I would have signed up, because I felt like I felt very upset when I was listening to what was happening. I'm not a computer person whatsoever. I don't know anything about this mainframe. I don't know if it's too late to go back and redo this mainframe. But from what I got, we had requested 2 visits from the company at no extra costs. So, but I feel like we as taxpayers didn't get our money's worth, because it was just kind of, this is what it is, here it is, we're going to try and start it on Friday, and we'll have it up on Monday. And a lot of the counselors were a little bit kind of shocked about it. I'm of the belief that you need people with multiple ideas and concerns. No one person will have all the answers or can think of all the items that need to be in the framework. City councilors have varied backgrounds and approach problems, current ones or the ones that they foresee, in different ways, and we should have their concerns addressed. The community was not really involved that much in this thing either. And this is kind of like having a builder to go and build your house. You kind of tell him what you want. He comes back, he has it built, and you go and say, oh, but you changed this, you changed that. Well, I thought this was the better way of doing it. But we can change it for a cost. Now, my concern is we didn't get everything, from what I gather, what we wanted in the mainframe. Yes, we can change it, but is it going to be changed at a cost? like I said, I'm not a computer person, but the mainframe is something that's kind of a fixed thing. We can go and change all the other things once we get the mainframe, do it and flip it around and do whatever we want to with it. But it's my understanding the mainframe, if you're going to change anything in the mainframe and get this company to do it or we do it, it's going to be a big cost to us. And once again, Mr. Johnson had kind of negotiated 2 extra visits with this particular company to kind of help us go through and tweak it a little bit more or what have you, and I feel like we just completely blew it. And I was very upset to see that our money wasn't, as taxpayers, wasn't really spent as well as I thought it should have been. Any questions?
Any other
Well,
comment?
I would like to make a comment. We didn't go with the company that gave us the 2 visits. We voted against that proposal and went with another company. I know it was on our minutes, and that's what we believed, but the company that we actually went with wasn't the one that had the 2 visits free.
But if you went on the first one with 2 visits, why did you not request that on your second one? I'm assuming everybody had just assumed that because it was like that on the first one, that was one of the items you were going to be doing on your second company.
That was one of the things that we really wanted to do, is have the visits so we could interact with the company doing the website, and we didn't get those. So you're correct on that part. We'd have loved to have those visits.
So did we not request it on the second company?
I don't think we did we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sure we did.
Did, and they
I
did.
think you just, let me just jump in here if you don't mind. I think Councilman Coleman requested 2 critical stages that had come back for review. And you know, like I told some of the council members that we could do that. But what I don't want to do is delay it any further because what we saw does look better than the last website. And I think that what we can do is maybe, you know, get some other working parties together. You know, we've had the port involved. You know, we've had others involved. We've had every department involved in the city. I'd like to see this website move forward. Like I said, it's going to be an evolving document, and I think it's going to be one that, you know, it's better than what we have now. So, you know, to delay it any further, I would say that, hey, it's not a
Well,
good thing to do.
I don't think any of us is wanting to delay the website anymore, and we've spent a lot of time on it, but I want to make one more statement, just like I made last week. As city councilmen, when we ask for something, we kind of want that to happen. We're kind of getting tired of it not happening. So in the future, when we say we want to be involved in something, I think that as a city councilman, I should be involved in something. And if we ask for it to be brought back to us a couple times, I think it should be brought back to us a couple times. I don't think you can go around and go, yeah, it's a city council, we're just going to go do what we want to do. That's what got us upset. And I think that's what got our community upset. We want to be involved.
I know my
Ms.
time's
Rowling,
out, but you
yeah, I was
used.
gonna say, we're at the end of your time period. Ma'am,
Can I make one sentence?
okay?
Can we postpone the startup for at least a minimum of a month, and let's get it right the first time?
Thank you for your input.
And
I had a
Let's have some other discussion.
I want
Go ahead.
one more thing to finish my statement. And I know you said everybody in the city was involved. Did we talk to the port about getting them involved with it, since they're kind of part of our community and they are a valid point in moving our city forward? I would like to see it if they had any say-so in this.
Counselor, we had a committee. They were invited. I'm not sure if they were there or not, but I could check into it and let you know.
Kimber Scott, 2407 St. Andrews Court. I was actually part of the committee, and to answer your question, we were not as involved as we should have been. The meetings were not called in advance. They were last-minute meetings, and I was not able to attend most of the meetings. And when I got involved, I was told that he makes the decisions, and I specifically said there are not enough people at this table to move this forward. And I think I spoke with you about it. I think I have an email.
Well, let me say this, since we're talking about the city's website and public participation and working with cooperatively with other agencies. We can work with anyone that you want to work with, okay?
Okay.
And what I'm saying is, we need something to happen with this website. Right now, you have previewed the website. That was last week.
Some of
I
us
know
didn't
some of
get
you
to.
haven't.
Some of us were
Some
not
of you
here.
haven't, I understand. Some of you haven't, but there is a preview of the website. At issue, for me, is this service request system. It allows for residents to make complaints, issue service requests. I would like to get that going so we can get the departments operating in a way where they can enter these requests in so we can track them properly. Right now, that's not happening. Now, all this other stuff about, what it looks like and that kind of thing, that's an issue. The biggest issue is ensuring that we administer these requests and we follow up with them. Right now, there's no accountability in that area. And this website is twofold. One's a website and the other one's service requests, complaint tracking. So,
Well, I'm going to go ahead and get in here what I had to say. We did have quite a discussion about this from the beginning. We went back and forth with several different entities on this. And it's because we were very concerned, because like everyone else has said, it's the first place people go when they want to look at our city. And we ask to be involved at every step. I was not able to be here last week, as some of the others weren't, because we were elsewhere and did not get to see it ourselves. So I really have no way to judge what the quality is now. I was extremely upset when I realized it was ready to go and that we had not been involved in the least about it. And I think that's wrong, and I think we need to fix that. I want it to go forward too. I don't have a problem with that, as long as there are not additional costs in any changes that are recommended that could have been alleviated by doing it the correct way first time.
Do we have a motion for this?
Not yet.
I made the
Wait,
motion.
well, I don't know there was a motion. You said you wanted to see it move forward.
I would say, I'd make that in a form of a motion.
And I think Ivory seconded
Yes,
it, if
he
I
did.
remember right. I don't want to put words in your mouth, Counselor.
He did.
Yes, he did.
So,
Is there other comments or discussion?
I guess my question is there a review committee gonna look at this once it's up and running and go, here's 3 things that we need to change or add to? Because I knew that was part of the thing with this website, is it was easily changed and it was expandable. And I think really what I'm hearing is what's the process of going, okay, now we're here, we're moving forward, we understand the customer service relationship.
Yeah.
But now for the rest of it, where are we gonna go next? Once we go live with it, what's gonna be the process to review it and make it even better?
right, well, let me just answer it this way. We have not gone live with it. That's why we're previewing it for the city council. You can see what the front page looks like, what we're getting to versus what we currently have. Secondly, there was some comments about coming back to the city council. We're coming back to the city council. I don't know much about websites. I'm sure the IT director knows, and I'm sure there's others in the community that know more about websites than I do. All I'm telling you is what I've seen in 5 other cities and what websites look like. And so it looks like a pretty good website. But the important piece for me is the service request system. Now, how do we go from there to, getting some quality assurance kind of things in place where we have a committee set aside to review this website as it evolves, because it will evolve. And we don't have a committee in place right now. It'll be staffed by the IT department. They'll be making changes along with other departments. That's pretty much what we have in place now. I don't think we've thought through it evolving into a committee and having a committee review it. Something we definitely could consider, definitely something we can implement.
Well, that's my suggestion,
Yes.
we come up with some committee members and some of the concerned citizens who are familiar with the website. I know the chamber's gone through several websites, and Muskogee County come through some websites, and they might have some insight as you need to include this and you need to include that sort of stuff. So anyway, that was my suggestion, is because we have a motion and a second to go forward, go live with it. But then I think we need a process through the process of evolving and making it better.
And I agree. I think some kind of quality assurance review that involved some of the other entities that our colleagues discussed, I think that would be appropriate. Just so, and as an evolving document, so that as it continues to move forward, if they got comments or input or things we missed, and we can go on.
I think there'll be quite a bit to it, because of the service request, system that's out there now. And that was very, very important to me because that was my brainchild. I mean, so that's why the website's very important to me. One of the important steps, I believe, was getting our customers' input into that process. But I think the council should take it up in another month to discuss who needs to be a part of that. Because I think it's gonna take some time, for the city to understand how that customer service is working, and know, what needs to happen there, and then for us to hear, from some of our constituents, what's working, what's not working. So it's gonna take a time to really review that piece of it, and then the other pieces of it. But I think it's gonna need to be out there for at least a month before we have any real feel for what's going on.
For a month, excuse me, for a month to the public or for a month that staff reviews?
No, I would think it's a month to the public. I think we're gonna need to put it out there and
Get
let
some
it
live
go
results.
and let it roll and getting data and seeing how it's flowing for at least a month.
Here's my concern. I'm assuming to do that, we would need to pay for it somewhere along the way. And when you pay for it, you have just lost your ability to come back and negotiate for those things that we asked for that we didn't get, whether it's our own IT's fault or, I don't know who else maybe, but how are we gonna know that those things are gonna be a part of it and we don't end up with $100,000 website once we get those things to be a part? My understanding is that we've bought another piece of software to generate work orders that doesn't communicate with with the webpage that we've got. And we just spent $25,000 for that piece of software. I think we've got some communication issues internally that need to be resolved, and my thought would be, I don't see anything that is forcing us to put this out today. I think it ought to be an internal review for a period of time, and we give some input on, here's what we want, or we're not paying for the darn thing. If we have to go back to square one.
Could
I
we,
think it's that important that we do it right. The
I-
website we've got, it works. I don't like it, but it works. So it's not like we don't have it out there at all. And it really upsets me. It really irritates me when we ask to have something done, we ask to be a part of the process, and it's ignored.
I would venture to say a majority of the website's already paid for because there's steps of sign-off through the implementation process.
I don't have any idea. Are we fully committed financially to it?
I'm sure it's probably 50%, 75%.
I'd say at least 75,
Yeah.
because you sign off at those critical stages, and that's what concerned me when we didn't see those critical stages. We're done. Now it's gonna cost us to make any changes, and it may be that it's just our IT people tweaking it. It may be that it's no big framework change. We won't know that till it's loaded out there.
I guess the parts that we don't know are what concern me. For example, if you go to the Revenue Department and ask about a water issue with an account, and you go to the Water Department and ask about an issue with an account, those two departments don't operate with the same software
Correct.
that we've already bought and paid for, but we choose not to operate off the same work order system. So you make a phone call to one, they can't answer whether or not it's been dispatched or responded to. You make a call to the other one, they have no idea what the Revenue Department's done. And I think if we just allow this to go on and on and on and don't say, this time we're gonna make it an issue, I really have a concern about that.
what would be wrong with postponing this for a week or so? I mean, we all agree that it's urgent, that we need to get a website going. we've said we needed input, we asked for it, we didn't get it. Let's spend that time giving that input and going from there.
Gosh, I would think retail business enterprise would want to be a part
Well,
of
to
the
really
website.
get the broad input that we need fast is to load it out there.
When you say load it out there, put it up and
Put it up.
let people,
Because what's done's done right now. All the input, all the training's been provided to staff. I mean, that's what just was shocking when it was brought to us. It's done, it's done. So right now, we load it out there. Then the port, chamber, education, and we really put an invite out. We get a letter out to them. And please review, let us know how we can refine this. AIM education, we don't want 5, 6 links out there giving something. We want it clean. What can we do as a community to not provide a whole host of links, but yet represent our community? Educationally, we've got so many opportunities in our community, but you don't want a whole bunch of links there, but you want opportunities of moving to whichever direction you want to. And I know there can be a fluid way of doing that. I'm not the person to do that. I can just tell you when it looks good, because I'm the guy that would create the links. I can do that, but we need somebody that can make that a fluid transition. And I think education, the consortium, has kind of done that, and that came back to the AIM Education Committee, and maybe that can be linked. So that's why I was using AIM Education Committee, because they've already done some solutions. And I just think we need to look to the knowledge base when we're doing something as a city.
I guess
What
the
is the
concern that I have
criteria
is,
for final payment?
I'll have to check the terms of the contract that we have with them, and I'll let you know. We don't plan on going live after tonight either. Our implementation table or timetable that was presented at the last meeting is sometime in June is when we intended to go live with it. It seems like that we're gonna have to sit back and incorporate some others or ensure that they're at the table when we have these meetings. And I think that's all we can do at this point.
So did it change from last week's meeting? Because Chris said as soon as we vote for it, he's gonna put it on.
No, I don't think that he said that. He talked about the timetable being like in June. I think it's in the packet, I think, or in the thing. What I recall in my meetings with them is a June date of going live. See, we came to the council to start showing them what we've come up with, the front page of it. And
But we're hosting the site, not them.
I think we're hosting it.
So
And
that's
if
what I mean.
Yeah, if that's the case, we control the date.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it really, what's done's done. That's my concern. So we might as well get it to the biggest audience we can to help us make it better as a community. And I don't want to take away from what I saw was leaps and bounds better than what we got right now. So we need to make a better image as fast as we can of Muskogee, get the reporting tracking software out, get that piece out there going, and then I start everybody working on what do we see, and there may be, hey, this is perfect. We don't there's no changes needed. I just think we missed some critical steps, and maybe it's all perfect.
did you see a retail business recruiting piece there?
It was not enough presentation to see all the directions. I just know it was clean, it was good presentation. But there wasn't enough time to see everything there.
Okay.
And this agenda item says that this is the preview for the council before we go live. And some of us have not seen it because there were 3 of us that were in a different place last time.
I mean, we can arrange that. I mean, there's no, today is the 26th. We could, set up a viewing for you so you can go through, looking at it and see what your thoughts are on it. And then we can, at the same time, get some other folks at the table to actually look at the website. I mean, my preference would be, let's move it forward. Let's get a committee. Let's get those folks in the room. Let's get their input, and let's see if there can be some changes that will benefit the city or the website, and then make a decision on moving forward with this particular project. That's what I would say. I think you need to see it, because you guys weren't there.
Right.
You definitely need to look at the website.
I kind of assumed we would see a presentation tonight,
That's
like we
what
do when
I
things move
said, it
forward
was
to
on
council.
here. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
It's not on the consent agenda, it's on a regular agenda.
yeah.
Now, where is the presentation tonight?
Well, we presented last week, and.
But we normally present
3 or
things
4
on
people.
then, and then they come back and present them again.
Okay.
Well, and I would like to know about the money, the criteria for it, because if we move forward and then we find out later that that does call an end to it and we don't get any more changes from the company.
What I recall was that we were authorized $50,000 to purchase the website, and we spent $30-something thousand on the website, and there was about 10 or 12 grand left over for other things to occur with the website, fine tuning, amendments, minor changes, and those kinds of things. And so, I will look at the budget again, and I will definitely update you guys as soon as I get a copy of that contract.
Gene, can I put you on the spot just for a minute? Do you know how much we have paid on the 30-some thousand that we have contracted for?
I look at what the balance is that we have not paid is $10,700.
Of the 30,000.
50.
So we still owe some money. We still have some leverage to get what we asked for. Then I say we don't go public, personal opinion, and we go back and get what we asked for, and then we go public with it.
And
But I just have one vote in that.
I have one more question. On the work order side, knowing that we were looking at putting a piece on this website,
Yes.
was the new work order system bought afterwards or before?
Yeah. The work order system that the mayor's referring to is an internal working work order process for internal departments. The service request system that we're talking about, complaint tracking system, is for residents, not back office guys. This is for residents to call in or go on our website and enter like an issue about potholes and those kinds of things, not to, maintain.
Does that go to all the pertinent people that it needs to go to?
Yes, sir.
Will it go to those people?
Yes, sir. An example of it is when someone walks into City Hall, and they can walk in any department in the city, okay, and say, hey, listen, I have a pothole in front of my house. That person, city staff guy, will enter in that request system. That request goes to the department that's responsible for administering that particular request. The department personnel will go in and enter that data. The status will change. If the resident or business owner, whoever, leaves their email address, an email will go to them saying, hey, your service request has been received. We anticipate this being rectified by so and such date. And if it stays open in our system for so many days or so many weeks, it gets escalated to like department director. If the department director doesn't deal with it, it gets escalated to the city manager. And so that's the reason why, I'm talking about the service request system. That's the biggest part of it. It's a real good feature for us. But understand the comments I've just received. This is not the same system that we're talking about, fleet management and facilities. It's not the same software, and it does not even deal with that at all.
Can a citizen then go to the website and get the update on that request that they made?
Yes, ma'am, and it will also be able to get email updates of anything that they've, and track the status of their complaint.
Okay.
And know exactly who in the organization they need to discuss it with personally if they wanted to pick up the phone and call them.
Okay, we've got a motion, we've got a second, and we've had thorough discussion. Any other comments?
Well, I guess my question is what's going to be the process? We have a motion on the floor to go live, and then a review, or is that?
Yeah, I think we're too far in it right now to turn back, and I think we ought to do it and see where we've got to make modifications and make those necessary modifications and hold them accountable.
Let's restate the motion then, so we know what we're getting.
I make I make a motion that we
Well, we've
go
already got
ahead.
a motion. I'm just saying, let's
Okay.
read what motion we have and see
Okay.
if it needs any alteration.
My understanding is we move forward with the website, launch the new website for 1 month, let the community and the public review, and come back and then form a committee to go over. Is that your intention?
Can we put something in there about, says, we hold that 10,000 until they get to a point we can make our modifications?
We're under a contract. We'll just have to look at the contract and see what that language states.
That would be up to the city manager.
But I will do my level best to incorporate whatever I can under the current budget. So if there are any systemic changes, I don't think it will be, but I could be wrong.
My second still stands.
Okay? Motion and a second. Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Gully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Leanne Langston.
No.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
No. Motion carries. Item number 10.
Discuss and take action to authorize the payment of election expenses, if necessary, for a countywide election to determine whether the retail sale of alcohol beverages by individual drink for on-premises consumption should be permitted on Sundays.
Mr. Brown.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor and members of the City Council. This is one of those items that we are definitely looking at in terms of creating additional retail sales in the city. Counties in Oklahoma have the right to decide whether to allow sales of alcohol at restaurants and bars, what is commonly referred to as liquor by the drink in that county. And so in 1985, Muskogee County, citizens voted to allow liquor by the drink in Muskogee, just not on Sundays. And so our goal is to create, an environment where if the county commissioners decide to allow our voters, Muskogee voters, to vote on this, we want to be able to fund this election so there's no issues with it. And so our voters would have the opportunity to vote on it. Because right now, the way the law is structured, county commissions actually are only authorized to place this on the ballot for the voters of our community to actually do it. I think there's another way, that's by petition of people that live in the county. And so we see this as a economic development item, which we really need. We have research from Rogers County, who recently adopted similar regulations where their voters approved it. We believe that we'll get anywhere from a 20 to 30% increase in retail sales. Now,
Of liquor by the drink.
of liquor by the drink. Well, what we have is the research shows that there was an increase in all food sales in restaurants, and we believe that the additional increase is because of alcohol sales on Sunday. And so most of your restaurateurs, at least the national restaurateurs, have stated that liquor by the drink is something that they need in order to meet their pro forma and meet their retail sales goals. And so what we're asking for is to allow funding for an election in the next election cycle. It's a county commission decision. All we're doing is asking that we be allowed to spend $16,000 or $17,000 on the election, to hold an election.
Why so much? It seemed like the city elections were only $3,000 or $4,000. That seems pretty high to me.
Well, that was the estimate that I received from the county elections office, and one of the reasons is because, and I'm sure we have other people that can talk more specific about it, is that the election is not held on a regular election cycle, and so when it's not on a regular election cycle, it costs more. So many more ballots you have to pay for, and so many other things. So that's what I recall. I could be wrong, but I'm sure we're going to have some speakers on here tonight that can actually answer those questions.
And it's a countywide election, not a city.
That's right, and it's a countywide
Yeah.
election.
We have two people signed up to speak to the issue. Would we like to hear those now?
Yes.
Okay. John Tyler Hammonds, former mayor of the city of Muskogee, now OU graduate in the from law school.
Yes, sir.
Getting ready to go into practice.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Name and address.
John Tyler
please.
Hammonds, 3401 Canterbury, Muskogee, Oklahoma, for the first time in 3 years. Glad to be back. Mayor, members of the council, it's a pleasure to address you tonight. I come to speak in support of this motion. I encourage you to make this money available to the county to make this election happen for the city of Muskogee. President Reagan once famously said that government is not the solution to our problem, government is the problem. When it comes to retail business recruiting, right now, the city government or the county government as it stands is a problem. It is standing in the way of us attracting the businesses we want to have. Businesses want to invest in a place where they feel they are welcomed, and right now this arbitrary ban is keeping people from investing in the city. If you look at the counties that do allow liquor by the drink on Sundays, they are all the metropolitan areas of Oklahoma allow it. We talk about how we want people to shop local, stay local. Right now this ban is forcing people to leave the city and shop somewhere else. We want to shop local, we have to make it to where people can shop local. If they want to do this, let the voters decide. We ask that you would give that money to the county so we can ask the people to say, let them have a choice on this. They haven't had a choice on this in my lifetime. Give them a chance to talk about it. If they are pro it, they'll vote yes, and if they're not, they'll vote no. But let the people have a choice. This is something that we can do. When I was in the mayor's chair and when I was working with retail development, it was hard to get people to come here because so many business models are dependent upon alcoholic sales throughout the entire weekend. Alcoholic sales traditionally are 70% on the weekends and 30% during the weekdays. That's a huge profit margin to cut out of someone's business model and ask them to come invest in your community. So I would encourage you to send this item forward, to approve it, and let the county call this election. And I saw on the agenda item that it was going to be paid for with money out of the Economic Development Fund. This is the exact thing it was set up for, so that we would have the money set aside to do these type of projects. It's an important thing. I would ask that you vote yes on this and be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions of Mr. Hammonds? Thank you, sir. Appreciate
Thank
your
you all.
input. Teresa Rutlinger, you also signed up to speak to item number 10 as well. Name and address, and you will have 5 minutes.
Teresa Rutlinger, 2500 Shelby Court. Extremely hard act to follow. Just wanted to say, let the public vote on this topic and have the city pay for the election. It's pittance compared to all the money that you have been spending lately.
Thank you. Okay.
Kind of forget how young he is until he said it hasn't been voted on in his lifetime.
I don't know if that was a dig at us or not, but I'm not going to take it that way.
Yeah, I was born around that time, so.
All right, comments or discussion?
Move for
I'll
approval.
Second.
I was
Get a
getting ready to
motion
say
in a
something.
second.
I was getting ready to say something.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I may be the only one up here that votes no against this, but I have a reason to vote no. We, citizens, they drink 6 days a week. You can at least allow Sunday not to drink. Because drinking, I grew up in an environment where I was around drinking. And believe you me, drinking affects people. And on Saturday night, when people go out and drink at the bars and all this, and Sunday morning, they can't even get up and go to church. Another thing is, you can get into a car accident driving while drinking. And that's, and at least when you're drinking on Saturday night, and come Sunday morning, you can get up and go to church, you can at least sober up for that day so you can get ready for Monday morning's work. But myself personally, I don't think, even though it brings more revenue and more things to Muskogee, still, I'm against it as a Christian and as a person that grew up around it, and I don't want to see anything bad happen to people on Sunday morning. I'd rather see them in church and not to drink after church. But that's just my opinion, and that's just my belief, and I'll stick to it.
Okay.
So like I said, if I'm the only one up here that says no tonight to it, that's fine. But it will be a no vote for me.
Good.
Thank you.
Other comments or questions? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Leanne Langston.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
No.
Eric Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes, motion carries. Puts us on item number 11.
Discuss and take action on the request from Muskogee Housing Authority to waive the payment in lieu of tax of funds for 2015 for the total amount of $10,825 or take other necessary action.
Mr. Brown.
Yes, sir, Mayor Coburn and members of the council. As you know, every year the Muskogee Housing Authority requests a waiver of funds These pilot funds is required under state law. They're required to actually make a payment in lieu of paying taxes. And so they're asking that this be waived. It's about $10,000 more or less. We did it last year previously, and I recommend that we approve their waiver.
Okay. Comments or questions?
So
Entertain a
moved.
motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston. Dan Hall.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Leanne Langston.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes, motion carries. Item number 12.
Consider approval of the reappointment of Gary Dunlap, Jack Farr, and Alice Smith to the Muskogee Housing Authority Board for a term ending June 30th, 2018, or take other further necessary action.
This is my item, and Mr. Tucker, I did not ask you about this today. Do we know that these three people can serve again if reappointed? Is there any question with that?
I assume you are referring to the charter prohibition?
Yes.
Is that, okay. We have talked about that in past years, and since the Housing Authority is a state board
Right.
and established by statute, it is not affected by our city charter prohibition.
Okay. I move for their approval.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes, I got a question. Why come these same three people are serving again on the board? You don't have any other people?
I don't have any idea. No, I don't have anybody that has said to me, and I would go on their recommendation. Blake, you're welcome to speak to that item.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Typically, we'll have repeat serving members of the board because being a board member of a housing authority is such an intricate process. It typically takes more than one term to get a board member that's familiar enough with the hundreds of federal regulations that we have to deal with and the process that we have to go through when we expend federal funds. So to turn a board member over every 3 years would be a bit cumbersome for us. I know Jack Farr and Gary Dunlap have served. This would be Gary Dunlap's second term, and this would be Jack Farr's third term. So they have served well on our board. Alice Smith represents the residents of the Muskogee Housing Authority. She lives in one of our developments, and this is her first term. She was appointed previously to finish the unfinished term of a previous appointee. So yes, we try to maintain an experienced board. It's just not something that is easily learned, within the first term to be able to function a high-performing agency like we are.
So each term is 3 years, correct?
Yes, sir.
So these people have been on this, what, 9 years? No, this is 3
Jack
years.
Farr was appointed in 2005 originally, and Gary Dunlap in 2012.
I just, I've been a councilman up here, and when I was out there in the public, where you standing, I just got tired of seeing the same people on these boards over and over and over. And I understand your experience, but you still need to get other people that trained too to take these people's place. If one of them dies or something happens or something, you got to change it then. It seems like you're not changing anything now.
I completely understand, sir.
That's just my 2 cents.
Other comments or questions? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Leanne Langston.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
No.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes, motion carries. Recognizing citizens that wish to speak to council. Olin Mowdy, could you approach the microphone, please? Give us your name, your address, and you are here to speak about water line issues.
Yes, my name is Olin Ray Mowdy, and I'm here to speak for Rose Smith about the water leaks that's been repaired over on 1412 Monica Avenue. They repaired it. I don't know who repaired it, whether it was a contractor or the city. But there's water coming up out of that new asphalt. It's been coming out of there for the last 7 years. And that's on one side of the driveway. And on the other side of the driveway, somebody run off in through there and busted the pipe, and it's still leaking. Nobody even fixed it. They come out and put a barrier up, and then they took the barrier away. I've been in the military. I retired 28 years, and I'm 100% disability. And I go over there and I cut that grass, and there's mosquitoes all over the place. And you got that little creek or river or whatever it is down there, and it's plugged up and it won't let the water drain. It needs to be repaired. It needs to be cleaned out, both sides of the street.
Mr. Malley, is this your address at your home, or is this the address where the problem occurred?
That's the address for the property.
1412 Monta Avenue.
Roger that.
Okay. Give us your address, please.
My address is 6011 West Muskogee,
Okay.
next to the school out there. Got 10 acres out there. And plus, I need a swamp boat to get around out there now for the rain. But anyway,
all right.
Both sides of that, I try to clean it. I can't even weed eat the ditch without getting all muddy and wet and stuff scattered up in my face. You can't even sit outside. You drive your truck in and you open up the doors and mosquitoes are all after you.
You want to speak to it?
No, I'll look into it.
Okay, all right.
And that right there creek that runs through there, the water will not even get through it. And it's still, I got water that run. There's got water coming out of the ground that much, that high.
Okay. Thank you, sir. We will look into it and see what we can do.
I'll see.
Thank you, sir.
I'm the councilman from that area. I'll be over there tomorrow.
1412 Monta Avenue, Rose Smith.
This is my fiance.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Is that a public announcement? Are we going to we've got a minute if you wanted to present a ring or anything. In a hurry.
We could probably get a judge and just do it right now. Do the deal.
Teresa Rutlinger, you had also signed up to speak.
We also have a couple of pastors that can do that.
On site.
On site.
On site.
Teresa Rutlinger, 2500 Shelby Court.
Don't need a judge. do it.
Muskogee's Phoenix front page Monday, sale of site of Davis Field in the works. Please give the general public your reasoning for selling 132 acres next to Davis Field. Is this kind of the common thing that other cities do, or do they go and lease the land for over 100 years and let the people put the buildings on or whatever? What advantage is it to the city to sell to the port if the port is already currently showing it and has not had a huge bite? If we were to sell it now, and let's say 10 years from now they finally get a bite, we've sold it for this price and the land price is now this. I know that we kind of subsidize a little bit the port, and I didn't know if the subsidizing on the money that we give them, if that also entails some of this FAA stuff, or if they will be asking for grants from the Muskogee Foundation to help with this FAA paperwork that they're having to do. And then they said in the article that once we did go ahead and sell the land, that the initial cost of doing all this paperwork was probably going to be in the purchase price. So I myself, as a peon, cannot see the advantage of selling the land at this point in time. I'd just like to know that, I know you're going to be bringing it up next month sometime, but it just kind of piqued my interest, and I couldn't quite understand the dealings.
Okay, you understand on a non-agenda item that we can't engage in conversation
Okay, well,
of that.
but just
So
for
we'll note your
possibly
questions.
next week or next meeting, whenever you have it, if maybe when they're
I'll
going
have,
to
we
the
have the information,
explaining.
Ms. Rutlinger. I'll have a member of my staff talk with you directly one-on-one about the details.
Okay, because it just doesn't sound like it's a good deal right now.
Yeah, Don, can you get her information? Thank you.
Okay, we will now consider item number 13.
Consider an executive session to discuss and take possible action on the following: A, pursuant to Section 307B4, Title 25 Oklahoma statutes, consider convening an executive session to discuss the pending litigation involving Robert E. Adair filed in the United States District Court, case number CIV-15-53-RAW for Eastern District of Oklahoma, and if necessary, take appropriate action in open session. B, pursuant to Section 307B2, Title 25 Oklahoma statutes, consider convening an executive session to discuss negotiations with the International Association of Firefighters, Local Number 57, and if necessary, take appropriate action in open session. C, pursuant to Section 307B2, Title 25 Oklahoma statutes, consider convening an executive session to discuss negotiations with the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, Local Number 2465, and if necessary, take appropriate action in open session. D, pursuant to Section 307B2, Title 25 Oklahoma statutes, consider convening an executive session to discuss negotiations with the Fraternal Order of Police, Lodge Number 95, and if necessary, take appropriate action in open session.
Entertain a motion.
I so move.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Leanne Langston.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes, motion carries. If you would now excuse us, we will excuse ourselves into executive session. We'll now reconvene out of executive session. Roll call, please.
Mayor Bob Coburn.
Here.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Here.
Dan Hall.
Present.
Marlon Coleman.
Here.
Janie Boydston.
Here.
Wayne Johnson.
Here.
Leanne Langston.
Here.
Ivory Van.
Here.
Derek Reed.
We are accounted for. Mr. Tucker.
Item 13A, pursuant to Section 307B4, Title 25 Oklahoma statutes, the City Council did convene an executive session to discuss the pending litigation involving Robert E. Adair, filed in the United States District Court, case number CIV-15-53-RAW for the Eastern District of Oklahoma. In that session, council was advised of a mandatory court order for settlement conference as required by the Eastern District Court rules. Per that order, City Council was requested to name and identify a fully authorized settlement representative. And I believe at this time, the appropriate motion would be to appoint Marlon Coleman as the city's fully authorized settlement representative for the settlement conference involving Robert E. Adair.
So move.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Leanne Langston.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes, motion carries.
Item 13B, pursuant to Section 307B2, Title 25 Oklahoma statutes, the City Council did convene an executive session to discuss negotiations with International Association of Firefighters, Local Number 57. Council was fully briefed on the status of those negotiations, and no action is necessary at this time. Item 13C, pursuant to Section 307B2, Title 25 Oklahoma statutes, the City Council did convene an executive session to discuss the negotiations with the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, Local 2465. After being fully briefed of the status of negotiations at this time, no action is needed. Item 13D, pursuant to Section 307B2, Title 25 Oklahoma statutes, the City Council did convene an executive session to discuss negotiations with the Fraternal Order of Police, Lodge Number 95. After being fully briefed of the status of those negotiations, no action is necessary at this time. Mayor?
That completes our agenda for today's meeting. Thank you for joining us.